So let's take a look at the Steam Deck dock from Valve. This is of course the official docking station for the Steam Deck, and probably also the more expensive one. I just wanted the official one because I know that it will work, but there is definitely a lot of third parties out there you can get, and even just use standard USB Type-C adapters like these ones here. If you want just to adapt HDMI and LAN and so on, you can use these types of adapters, but I want to have a permanent place where I can actually dock in my Steam Deck because I don't really use it all that much. I keep it mainly just in its packaging here or in its little carrying case, and I kind of forget it's there, and I don't really have a permanent place to charge it. Once I actually want to use it, I have to be tied to like a charger close by. So hopefully I can just keep it permanently in this Steam Deck here, or this docking station, and it will always be charging, and I can just take it out and maybe even connect it to a monitor or my TV and play some games on a bigger screen, or maybe just stream some games from my main gaming PC to the Steam Deck via the Steam Link functionality. But anyways, let's just get into it. I bought this off of Steam in Europe, and it was shipped within Europe, I believe from Netherlands. It took around a week or so to actually get here. And like I said, this is probably one of the more expensive docking stations out there, but it is also the official one. And there's some serial numbers and stuff on the back there, and it comes with this little plastic bag. Let's just get this bag off and take a closer look at the packaging. It's a kind of underwhelmed packaging, not really anything special to it. It almost resembles like a battery for a scooter or something like that. Very generic case, but there is a little bit of Valve branding here on the front side, and some white and black patterns on the box. And all it says here on the top is connect your deck and docking station in 2 different languages. And on the back side here does have my serial number. I'm not going to show you that. And it contains model number 2001. I'm not really sure if this is the first batch. And this is assembled in China. And I believe I paid around 100 euros for this one here, and that was including shipping. So let's just get into it here and cut through the seal. There's a little bit of plastic protection here on the top, those here on the side as well. So we can just flip this little flap here out and get into this packaging here. Again, very underwhelming, just cardboard on the inside. Opening it up, you're met with the docking station right on the top. It is a very small docking station, and that was like one of my main concerns about this one here, because the Steam Deck is a rather big device, also kind of heavy. Can this little docking station actually keep it properly attached so it won't like knock it over and fall out and so on? But anyways, docking station here on the top, and I believe we also have a charger. If we dig a little bit deeper here, the same charger that we get with the Steam Deck itself, which is nice, so you can have one on the go. And yeah, exactly the same charger as the one you got with the Steam Deck, at least here in Europe. Of course, this is the European plug. Just have a closer look at that in a moment, and let's see what kind of paperwork we have in here. And that's all we get inside the packaging. Let's just get rid of that. So we get this little health and safety, maintenance, regularity, and limited warranty and agreement information. So yeah, I believe this is some mandatory stuff they have to include inside of Europe by law. A little bit waste of paper, but in many different languages if you want to read through that. And then of course we have exactly the same power brick as the one we got with the Steam Deck. And this is the European version. Don't believe you can actually change out this plug. It is permanently attached. So I live in Europe, of course. We use these 2-prong round connectors here. If you live in UK or US or Australia, you'll get a different plug. Exactly the same adapter. It's kind of a high quality adapter, so I don't really mind that at all. 15 watt, 3 amps, or 20 volt at 2.25 amp, up to 55 watt. But one thing I don't really like about this is that the cable is permanently attached. So if you accidentally damage the USB Type-C cable on the charging end here, this whole brick here is pretty useless afterwards, which is definitely sad to see. I would really like to see being able to just replace this cable, and maybe even plugging a longer cable, because this is only like 1.5 meters long. So not the longest and not the most prolonged way to actually deliver a charger. So definitely USB Type-C plug on the charger itself would have been nice, so you can supply your own cable and also replace it if it gets damaged. But this one will just be permanently attached to the docking station. So let's just bring in the docking station here into frame. It's not overly heavy, and speaking of heavy, let's just put it on the scale right out of the bat here. So we are looking at 133 grams, almost 134 grams. So that's not really all that heavy. And of course, if you bundle in the charger there, you're looking at almost 300 grams at 292.3 grams. So yeah, not really all that heavy, but it must be perfectly balanced since it's able to like dock in that pretty big Steam Deck. And of course, we will try that a little bit later. But first, let's just have a closer look at what we actually can connect up to this docking station. So we do have a display port, HDMI out. Of course, here is for power and charging. We do have a 1 gig LAN connector, and I believe it's 5 gigabits per second, USB 3.2 Gen 1. And of course, all of them is USB Type A, so there's no USB Type C plug on the device itself, nothing on the side. And on the bottom side here, you do have rubber all the way around, only really on the middle there. There is no rubber, but some specifications. Of course, input 20 volt, 2.25 amp. So if you want to replace the included adapter, you should of course supply one that can deliver up to 20 volt. But yeah, big grippy rubber here on the bottom. But you can see already it has accumulated a lot of dust here just by putting on my table. So yeah, definitely you need to clean this frequently. Nothing here on the front of the docking station at all. And on the inside here, we do have rubber on the bottom. Same kind of rubber that we have on the bottom of the docking station. No rubber here on the inside, but there is a little groove. I don't know if you can see that. That will kind of catch on to your Steam Deck, which they will also have a little bit of rubber there because that point here will just constantly touch the Steam Deck. Also here towards the back, no rubber or protection there. But I suspect it will be fine. Hope they have tested it properly. And a little Steam Deck logo right here on the top. And then of course we have this cable that you need to connect to the top of your Steam Deck. I would definitely like to see a USB Type-C plug on the bottom of the Steam Deck so you can just plug it in. Or maybe even some poker pins so you could just like line it up and set it into your docking station without having to like forcefully plug it in. And still will have like data and of course charging capabilities. But this is definitely a pretty decent solution, and I suspect this cable will be long enough without being too long, so not really too much of a trouble. But it is still a two-step operation, so you have to dock it in first of all, or put it inside the docking station first of all, and then you have to plug it in afterwards via this cable here. So yeah, a little bit annoying actually. But let's just get out a little more here so we can get the full Steam Deck here into frame. Like I said, I don't really use the Steam Deck as much as I would really like to. I really enjoy using it once I am actually using it. But unfortunately, like I said, I keep it in the case most of the time on a shelf, and I kind of forget it's there. I thought maybe I would game a little bit at nighttime, but I'll just get too pumped up during nighttime, so it will be harder to fall asleep and just end up gaming like for too long. So yeah, that's not really the solution. So hopefully I can just keep it in this docking station, and let's just try and dock it in. So I should be able to just plug it in like so. And that's actually one nice thing. You don't have to be completely centered with this one here. Unlike, of course, the Nintendo Switch. You can keep it a little off angle there and it would actually stay pretty well in place, because you don't have to line it up with like a plug underneath the Steam Deck with the docking station. So that's of course one nice little added bonus there. Let's just have a look at it from the side. You can see it is catching right there below the display. So it's not touching the display, but it is catching the plastic part right below here. I suspect that would be fine. Plastic against plastic. Don't think it will really cause much damage or scratching throughout the time using this device here, if you're a little careful, of course. And then of course it is resting towards the back side there. Would have been nice to see some kind of rubber there, but I suspect they have tested it and concluded that it's not really needed. But you could of course put some scratches on the back side of your Steam Deck there, and resting there on the bottom side where the rubber part is. But like I said, you don't really have to be completely centered. You can also just keep it like so, off center in the docking station. So that's of course a little nice added bonus. Could be a little annoying for people like me with OCD, like wanted to have everything completely in the center there. But you could just dock it in like so and still be fine. And let's just see if the cable will actually work no matter pretty much where you're docked in. So you could be docked in all the way over here and it should still work fine. The cable is long enough, so yeah, that's definitely an added bonus. You could even like take it out of your docking station, and wouldn't really recommend it, but you could potentially just plug it in and leave it on the desk like so. Yeah, not really sure why you would want to do so, but you could potentially do so. And the cable, of course, is just long enough, so you can see it does stick out a little bit here on the back. Not really too bad in my opinion. And the cable is also a little bit longer than the Steam Deck. Should also accommodate for any type of cases you probably have on here. Maybe some cases could interfere, because this plug here is pretty recessed once it's actually plugged in. As you can see here, when you plug it in to the Steam Deck. Plug is really pretty recessed. Maybe, what is it, like 1 millimeter or something gap between the Steam Deck and the USB Type-C plug. So yeah, you probably lose some case compatibility with this kind of docking station. You should have gone with a more like standard type of USB Type-C plug, like something like this. They could plug in from the top. Maybe some third-party docking stations do so, but I don't have any case on mine and don't plan to do so, so don't really care too much. And you'll have pretty good grip here when you actually have to remove the plug again. But again, it is a two-handed operation, so you kind of need to hold your Steam Deck down to be able to not plug it in, but to plug it out again, which is a little bit unfortunate. And you will also put a lot of strain on this cable when you unplug it, because you're pulling the cable. That's probably also why you see there's a little bit of rubber gasket all the way around the cable there, or rubber part around the cable. So when you pull it, you'll not put strain directly on the cable right there where it goes into the plastic housing of the docking station. Kind of nice. Let's try and actually plug it in just by power to begin with here and see how well it actually works. Expect there will be no issues. I believe you can also update the firmware, so I'll probably get a firmware update prompt whenever I plug it in. So the Steam Deck is actually on right now. It did turn on by just plugging in a cable, even though there was no power connected to it. So let's try and actually plug it in like so. Should get a little charging icon there. Yes, starts charging. You can see starts charging immediately, and surprise, surprise, we do get a update. So let's try and install this update. Unfortunately, it is in my native language, but it just says update firmware on docking station. Don't disconnect the Steam Deck. So of course you need to leave it connected whenever you're doing any kinds of firmware updates. It will take around 1 minute and 35 seconds. So relatively fast. I'm not really sure what the firmware actually does inside the docking station, other than like giving it a handshake whenever you connect it to the Steam Deck. I don't believe there's any kind of upscaling built inside the dock, which is a little unfortunate. Would have been nice to see some kind of upscaling from 720p maybe to like 4K if you want to connect it to a 4K monitor. But then again, most TVs nowadays has pretty good upscaling built in. Not really sure I'm going to play on my 4K 120Hz monitor or TV rather, but I might plug it into my 1440p monitor, not to play games, but just to have it connected to something when I actually plug it in and charging. Or I might just plug it into the living room after all, but not to game on my big screen TV, but just to keep it charged and so I can quickly get to it and start gaming. But anyways, let's get back to the video once we actually have updated this dock here. So docking stations seem to be updated now. You did not need to reboot the Steam Deck, which wouldn't really make sense because of course it is the docking station that is up to date. One thing I want to try here is actually to see if an Xbox wireless adapter would work on the Steam Deck, because yeah, you can use a Bluetooth connected Xbox controller, which is fine enough, but you kind of lose out on the controller vibrating, which is something I kind of like. So I hope you could actually connect a standard Microsoft adapter here and then hook it up to this adapter instead of hooking it up to Bluetooth, and then you get all the rumble features, and then I could just like stream games from my main gaming PC when I hooked up to my TV in the living room, which would be kind of nice. So let's just try and plug this one in to one of the USB plugs here on the back. Nothing really happens on the Steam Deck itself, but let's just see if there's any light. Nothing at all here. Usually there's a little LED, status LED here on the Xbox adapter, but you can see it doesn't really even turn on or register that it is connected or anything like that. The little button there does really nothing. So no, you probably just have to rely on Bluetooth, unless of course Valve will at some point come out with their own controller for the Steam Deck, like external controller, which they're kind of rumored to do. I'll definitely get one of those if they release one. But yet overall, pretty impressed actually. It is definitely pretty stable on the table, so it won't just fall over accidentally. That goes for like the docking station, but also the Steam Deck itself. Even if you like poke it from the back, you can see there, I'm poking it pretty hard right now. If you accidentally bump into it, like in either direction, you can see it actually stays on there quite well. That surprised me a little bit because, yeah, that small footprint there and this monstrous of a device, which is big and heavy, yeah, it just fits and it on there comfortably. And I definitely have a lot of confidence that it will stay there and not fall over. And of course, you can see the Steam Deck there is charging. 1 hour, 1 minute to charge fully from 48%, which I believe is exactly the same speed as if you're connected directly to the charger. But of course, this charger would also have to supply a little bit of power to the devices you've connected through USB. So that, of course, could make the device charge a little bit slower. Kind of want to try an Xbox controller connected directly through USB just to see if there's any data going through those USB plugs, because I didn't get any prompt or anything like that connecting the little adapter. So let's try and hook it in directly. This is an old Xbox controller from the Xbox One. So micro USB connected via USB 2.0. Let's just see. Yeah, it works just fine. Let me see if you can get you an angle there. Maybe if you can see there. So controller here works just fine. I can go in here and select an item, of course open it up and so on. So yeah, you can connect it, wire to the Steam Deck. So yeah, I really hope the Steam will come out with their own controller. That would be very cool. Or at least open up for like the Xbox little USB adapter, wireless adapter. You can get like vibration feedback to work. But overall, kind of impressed with this little device. It doesn't take up much room on your desk. Very small, very slim, but it does hold the Steam Deck very securely. I was kind of surprised about that because yeah, looking at this online, it just looks so tiny. Long enough cable, pretty high quality, easy to get out again from your Steam Deck. So you can kind of pull these two areas here with your thumb, but you kind of have to hold the Steam Deck in place. And yeah, it is a two-handed operation, whether you want to remove it or install it into the dock, which is a little bit unfortunate. But I like that it is reinforced with rubber all the way around the plug here, because you will pull this cable when you actually unplug it again and again and again, and not put a lot of strain here on the inside of the cable. If it would just be directly connected inside this plastic housing, this cable would definitely fail at some point. So it is a little bit extra protected with rubber, very nice. And overall, I would say it is worth the money, at least my first impressions here. But that's just been an unboxing and first look of the Steam Deck dock station, the official one from Valve. I'll definitely recommend it if you wanna, of course, pay the full price that Steam is claiming for these. Maybe at some point it will go on discount, I will hope so. But as soon as it became available here in Europe, I just ordered it, and I've actually had it laying around here for like a month or a month and a half or so. So now it's time to get my Steam Deck plugged up and ready to go whenever I want to game on that one. So really looking forward to that. I just need to find the perfect place, maybe in the living room or maybe in my next to my gaming PC. I'm not really sure just yet. But that's pretty much all I have for this video. I hope to see you again in a future one. Until then, take care.